So hi, Welcome to the Noise Podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with,
Joe P.
and we're asking him some questions today about his upcoming EP, Emily Can't Sing. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel
Thank you.
about the response to the announcement so far?
Good. It's cool. I mean, like, it feels like the first time I've ever been like, hey, I'm going to release music and videos and all these things. And there's like a good amount of people that are like, oh, we're excited. So it's different. Yeah, I'm like excited about that. So yeah, it's good.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome. Very happy to hear that.
Thanks.
Of course. So is there any meaning behind the EP name or cover art?
Yeah. I mean, the cover art, I don't know, that was more, it doesn't really represent anything. Don't think too hard into it. But
Okay.
I mean, the title is, yeah, I mean, like, Emily Can't Sing. It's, so my girlfriend's name is Emily, and she really is very, very, very bad at singing. And I just kind of was like, oh, this feels good. I think I had it written down somewhere as like a title, because I'm always just like jotting down title names and things like that. So I did that, and yeah, I don't know. I recorded her singing a song, and it's on the EP, and it's like very bad. And I was like, I kind of like this. I like she's so good at everything else that I was like, I like that this is the one thing that I have.
Mm-hmm.
But and singing is the only thing I can do. So I don't know. It all comes down to, I really like how it sounded. And it has like a personal thing to it. So it's like, all right, I've always wanted to try to have a personal like thread through everything I do.
That's good.
Is that the interlude track that she's singing on?
Yeah.
Okay, that made me look like double check. I'm like, am I still listening to the same fucking thing?
Yeah, totally different thing. But yeah, it's her.
All right. So can you tell us a little about your writing process for this EP?
Sure. It all happens in this basement, which is crazy looking, but yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of just, it's just me for the most part. So it's like just playing loops of things and running in circles around my basement and recording stuff and grabbing this microphone and like, just saying the first thing that comes to my mind. And so I don't know. I'm always just trying to build on things, and I'm aware that it's just me. So I'm very aware of like, I know I'm going to get out of hand. I'm going to get too, I'm going to put too many tracks and too many things because I'm going to get so in my own head. So I try to keep everything really, really minimal. And then I bring in my friend Chris, who plays drums on everything. And he's like my fresh eyes and ears on everything that can just be like, hey, like maybe make this bridge twice as long or half as long or things like that. And then I do it, and I'm like, wow, I would have never thought of that. So it's always important to have someone come in and help out and kind of give you, even if it's not a producer, like in a formal sense, you need something like that, or you will kind of get lost in your own head. But yeah, it's just a lot of that, and a lot of just like when I make lyrics, I usually lay down some kind of bed of a song first, like some kind of loop or a structure. And then I'll just sit here for like 2 hours with this microphone and just anything that comes to my head, just say it. And it's usually just sounds. And then like one word comes out, and I'm like, why did that word come out? And then another word comes from that. And then it's like reverse engineering the lyrics. I very rarely sit down and I'm like, I'm going to make a song about this today. Here I go.
Okay.
I've almost never done that. It's usually like it happens to me, and I just go. And then once it's all out, I look at it and go, oh, I think that's about that. Oh, okay. Like, or sometimes the song is out for like 2 months, and then I hear it one day and I'm like, oh, that was about that person, or that was about this thing,
Yeah.
So it's weird. It's very like, I'm not very conscious of when it's happening, but yeah.
Wow. All right. Solid.
Haven't gotten the answer that like the lyrics that someone's putting out, like what they're writing about, is subconscious. Never gotten that one before. So that's interesting.
It's weird. It's like it's there. I mean, at least the initial part of the process is I try to just kind of like throw it all up. So I'm not, because as soon as I start trying to edit as I'm going with the lyrics, they get really bad really quick. Yeah. So usually I literally think of songs, and especially lyrics, as like they already exist. They're already there. They're just like, you need to be ready to hear them and get them. So that's kind of how I view it. So it's more like, when I start putting too much of my actual brain into it and like try to do it, I start being like, oh, I'm killing it. Like, I'm just like taking all the energy out of it. You know what I mean? So I think, with lyrics and writing and things like that, you got to like trick yourself, because it's obviously natural to want to control it all and be like, oh, I'm going to make this lyric so good and people are going to love this line. And that's always the line no one gets or cares about, because it's like, there's no, human connection to it, because it's way too specific to like me thinking that I'm clever or something, you know what I mean? Whereas the ones that are like, whatever, those are the ones people are like, oh, I like that. that line's so good. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That was like the dumb one. I didn't think it was good. So, I think it's like, it says something, it's just like, don't think too hard, let it all come out, and then kind of go back afterward and like just kind of sculpt it and trim the fat a little bit, but don't try to do it as it comes out. I feel like that's the way to do it.
Okay.
Sure. It sounds like you got it down.
I don't know. I'm trying. I'm trying.
So I want you to tell us your favorite lyric off this EP and the meaning behind it.
Oh, wow. I would say my favorite lyric. I don't know if I'm able to think of it, but I really like the bridge of the song Crown Vic. I really like so it's, I don't ever sleep. No, I just close my eyes. And when the morning comes, I just act surprised. So I like that because it's like one of those lines where it's like, I didn't think too much about it. It was just like pretty obvious and like apparent, but I just liked how it sang. I liked how it sounded in the song. And I like the concept. I'm like obsessed with concepts for lyrics. Like each line could be very almost detached from the other line because I get so involved in like, the two things that are going to rhyme, the two lines that are going to go together. I want them to have like a whole song in themselves and like a concept and like a movie in them. So I liked that one because it was just like, I could hear someone tell me that or say that alone. And I'd go, oh, that's cool. I like that. Like, that's like satisfying. It rounds out completely. It's not like, oh, well, what's next? So, and just that concept. I like ridiculous, cartoony concepts put into like reality of like, I don't sleep. I just close my eyes. And when the morning comes, I just act surprised. And it's like, it's silly, but it's just like, yeah, I like that concept. And I truly like don't sleep well and never sleep. So that's why that's the meaning behind it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing. It's all, everything has that real sense of like, oh, it came from this part of my actual life, and here's the truth to it. But I'm never aware of that. Like, that's why I told you that backwards. Like at the end, I told you like, oh, I don't ever sleep. Like, oh, I didn't even think of it that way. Cause it's like, it comes out first. And then I look back at it, I'm like, oh, that was just me telling myself like, go to sleep. Like, that's all it is.
Okay.
Wow. So it's all still processing, basically.
Yeah, literally everything, it hits you the next day. It's really, or the next year or month or whatever. Cause it's like, I don't know. It's like, imagine you had to come up with, a great guitar riff or like a good lyric or melody or whatever. Like, it's hard to do that before it exists. And like, if you knew you were about to make a great melody, you'd never do it because you'd be putting all this pressure on yourself. So, your best moments are usually when you're tired, like not like just about to go to bed or just waking up, and you're just like, whatever, like I don't care anymore. And like, you just get loose. And that's when you actually let yourself be, you know what I mean? And you get out of your own way, I feel like. And then there's that time to go back, I think, and get in the way. But you have to get that initial, like, just write a bunch of stuff and then look at it and you can see it as a listener now and a viewer. Like, that's the hard part. Is like, I always make the joke of, I'll never be able to hear my own music, and I'll never be able to hear my own voice or guitar playing or anything like that, or what I look like. Because you just can't. You'll never be able to see that or hear that and be completely open to it and not know what you ate for lunch a week ago. Like, you just know too much about yourself. So it's hard to just see it. And then that's why I'm always like, when people say things like, oh, that was really good, or I'm coming to the show or whatever, I'm always surprised because I'm like, I don't know. It's just weird because I don't see me as someone like that. I'm just doing what I do.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I feel like that is how you have to be with writing, in that sense, where it's just like, you just have to try to not be in the way. And then you can look at it as one of those people who are going to actually hear your music. And I think that's the coolest thing, because I love so much music, other people's music. And it's like, oh man, I wish I could hear my music that way. Cause then I could write a billion hit songs every day, because I could just hear it and go, oh, this is good, this is bad, done. But when it's your own thing, it's like, when you hear your own voice on like a voicemail or something, you're like, I didn't know I sounded like that, But then everyone else is always like, you're crazy, you sound fine. And it's like, because they're not being so critical of you, they're just, you're you, to them anyway. So yeah, it's the weirdest thing ever. It's a complete nightmare, but it's great.
Since you like brought up people like coming out to your shows and everything, I saw you at Sad Summer Asbury, and I know that was like a last minute kind of thing. So I kind of want to ask how that came about, since we're kind of on the topic of shows.
Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah, so it was just like I'd never played a show before, like a solo show, anything like that under my name. And the night before that, me and like my band that I threw together, like we played this like secret show in a dive bar. Like it was just like no one was there, and that was the point. We just wanted to like rehearse. And it was like terrible. Everything blew up. Like it was bad. It was very bad. But that was like, it was just like, oh my God, like what are we gonna do? And that happened at like, 10 p.m. And then we're just like packing up and whatever. And my manager called me, was like at like midnight. And he's like, hey. And I was actually, the venue was like across the street from where that show was. That's the Stone Pony. So I'm like across the street, Kesha is playing. And it's it's like the most surreal moment. I was just like, what? I just walk out and I hear like, tick tock.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? So I'm sitting there listening to Kesha, depressed in the parking lot. And all of a sudden, my manager calls me and he's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I was like, I don't know, nothing, I guess. We just played this terrible show. And he's like, do you guys want to play the summer stage tomorrow at this thing? Like someone dropped out and you got to play. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I was like, what time do you have to be there? And it's like midnight at this point. He's like, 10 a.m. is the load in of like, you have to get there. And I was like, oh, okay. So there's no time to like fix the things that went wrong at this show. Like we had this plan of like, all right, we can go and rehearse 5 more times before we actually go on the tour we were going on. And this was like, and then I just like turned to everyone. I was like, we're playing there tomorrow. Like, go to sleep right now. Like, or actually, no, honestly, everyone was like, I'm not going to sleep tonight because we have to like practice, because everyone was like messing up because we hadn't played before. Yeah. So we literally practiced all through the night, like individually, and then came together and played on this giant stage, which was like from 0 to 100 for us because we'd never played together before.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. And like testing everything out, and hopefully all the gear works and who remembers the song. Like, and it was like awesome. Like for us anyway, it was so much fun. Like it worked. It was good. The crowd was cool. And I was like, oh, this is great. So it was like the perfect, literally that is being in the music world. Is like one day you're like, this is terrible. We just played the worst show. My life is over. What am I doing? And the next day you're playing for like 5,000 people on a giant stage. Everything's going right. And you're just like, what? So it's really weird. Within like less than 24 hours of each other, you can have like this crazy contrast of like ups and downs. And it's just, that was a great kickoff. And then we were like, all right, cool. Ready for the tour. Like if we did this, we can do like the rest of the shows, because like none of them are going to be as big as 5,000 people on this giant stage. So that was a good like confidence boost of like, no matter what, nothing's going to be as like scary or crazy as this scenario. So like we have that like false confidence of like, no matter what, we're good from here on out. So it was a good moment. But that's sick you were there. I didn't know you were there.
Yeah. I'm just like, now that you're telling me that the night before you played a horrible show, I like think you're lying to me, because you guys went up there and crushed it for a band that like hasn't like really played a show together.
Yeah.
And I had seen pictures on your Instagram after the fact, and I was very far up front, like within the first couple of rows, and I could not imagine the amount. I did not realize there were that many people there at that time, like that early on.
I know.
And how many people knew the words, because like no one, to be completely honest, no one knew that you were playing until
no one knew
All Time
anything.
Low posted the set list times.
Yeah, literally no one knew anything. And I was just like, all right, here we go. And yeah, and I was also like, the other factor of it was like, oh, this is going to be like a pop punk thing. Like, I'm not pop punk at all. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But, when that happens, you kind of just, it's almost good. I like stuff like that where it's like, you don't belong and you're like the ugly duckling that sticks out, because like, you already won. Like you already stick out just by being different, even if like it's not the genre they like. So it's like, if you're good, just try to be as good as you can at your thing, and it'll still like, people will still walk away with like, oh, that was cool. So that was the goal. I was like, all right, we don't fit in. We're not ready for this. This is the most people I've ever seen in front of me, but like, here we go. And see, that's what I mean by like those moments where you get out of your own way, right? Because like when there's 5,000 people in front of you, you're not rehearsed, you're not ready. There's no more like give up. Like you can't hold on anymore. You can't think about it. You can't think your way out of it. Like just go forward. The people are here. You're going, like, just go. And that's why that show worked out. Where the show last night, we were like literally treating it as like a rehearsal. We were like, this is going to be a practice. Like, let's hash it out. So, and that's why it went poorly, I think, is like we were we weren't playing a show. We were like thinking a show, you know? And
Yeah.
then the Stone Pony thing was just like, everyone was scared. It was like, you just got on the roller coaster. You can't stop it. So just like throw your hands up and be like, whatever, like, what am I going to do about it? You know? And that's why I think, you know, it worked, was just kind of holding on for dear life and, you know, just got out of our own way. But yeah, that was really fun. That was too many people. I looked up. There was a moment where I got on stage and looked and I was like, whoa, like I did not look cool because I was just like, whoa. Like I'd never been in that scenario before, and everyone definitely knew it because I was just like, this is crazy. But it was fun. Yeah, that was great.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So back to the EP. How'd the track list for the EP come about? Did you write the opener be the opener, closer be the closer? Did you just kind of shuffle it around? What was your process for that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a long EP because they're usually like 3 songs, I think. But yeah, this EP is just kind of like, it's so much of it. There's a lot of music that's already released, obviously, on it, but I just wanted to have them all together as like a one set thing. And then when it came to putting it all together, it was like, all right, the opener, Leaves, has always just felt like an opener, like energy wise, like it just starts in this weird place and it touches on everything that I like, you know. So I like that aspect of kind of what I do musically. So it does all of it, and I kind of love that. Whereas other songs kind of stick to one world a little bit more than the others do. But yeah, so that was the opener, and then it was just kind of like making sure it went up and down the right ways, and the dynamic was nice and everything. The last song, Yellow Lights, was like, I added that in. It wasn't even going to be like on it, I don't think. But last minute, I was like, let me throw one more thing on there. And it was like, it just has to be the ending song. It's just like slow and feels very dramatic. And at the end, it's like nothing can happen after this. So once you have the opener and the closer, the rest, it's literally just kind of like, it doesn't matter too much. So you just, you know, do your best to do what you would want to hear, you know? So yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So what song off this EP took the longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Oh, cool. The longest to write is a lot of them took they just kind of like hovered around for a while. Crown Vic took the most attempts. There's like a billion versions of it because it's the weirdest formatted song. It doesn't just do like verse, chorus, bridge, done. So that took the longest and like the most headache of just like, why can't I figure this out? Because it was like, there should be a chorus here because we did a verse and a chorus and a verse. So here we go. But every time it happened, it was just like, no, this is wrong. So the song was just telling me like, I don't want this. Like, you got to do it this way. So I was it took me a while to hear what the song wanted to be. And then I don't know, my favorite one, I really like, I don't know. It's so weird. Now I'm like, not sick of them, but I've heard them so much and played them so much. I just think of them live. Like playing live, I guess my favorite to play might be Leaves. I really like the ending of Leaves. It's really like different than the beginning of it. And I kind of like how it goes from that wide of a range. But yeah, Off My Mind, people really like Off My Mind. It's just, and that's one of those songs where it's like stupid, simple lyrics in the very beginning. And everyone's like, oh, like, perfect. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Like, I don't know. I wasn't thinking about it, you know? So I like that one in the sense of like, it's just like this simple thing that's very easy to do, but it like has a big weight to it, you know? So yeah, probably Leaves and Off My Mind are my favorite. Yeah.
Okay. So where was your headspace at while you're writing this EP?
Crazy, because it was just like COVID. It just literally was in a basement. And like the band I was in prior to it broke up like day one of COVID. And I was like, oh, okay. Like my life's over. Like, this is cool. And freaked out. And then the next morning I was like, no, just keep going. Like nothing changed. Just keep going. So I went in my basement. It was just like, all right, like reinvent the wheel here. Let's see what I can do. And it ended up being like more fun and easier because it was just me. Like I would get a good song idea and I'd go to like turn around to like, what do you guys think? And it was like, oh, no one's here.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like getting used to the new process. But at the same time, like in the band, it was always kind of like that. Like I was always kind of the one being like, hey, like I'm just gonna go do my own thing. But now there was like guilt free. I was just like doing it full on. So it was different. I didn't expect that. So, and it just also felt like I learned a lot of new things where it was like in the band situation, I was thinking more in terms of like, when you think of a band, you don't think of like singing. You think of the singer, or you think of like the Strokes or like Arctic Monkeys or something, where it's like, it's about sounding cool. It's about doing a thing. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily about like trying to sing well. When you think of pop music, you think of like Ariana Grande and things like that, where it's like, oh, they're like very, very good at singing and like using it, you know, they're using it for the song and the production and everything. I always shied away from that because I felt like a band isn't supposed to have like a singing singer unless you're like Queen or something, where it's like you have, you know, it's all about that.
Yeah.
But so then I started like doing these TikTok videos, which I never did before, and people were like, "Oh wow, cool! Like I like your voice," and I was like, my voice, like I just like forgot I even like had a voice that people, because no one ever said that with the band. It was always like, I like that song, I like that performance, like I like that guitar part. Like it was never about like singing, because I never put it out there. It was always very like, just sing the parts because that's what you do. But with this, since it was just me, I like felt more kind of freed up to do that, because it was like there was no band, so it felt like, you know, and it was literally, there's no difference. It's still me making songs, and it sounds like a band when you hear a recording of it. But it was just those simple things of just, you lift these like weird gates out of your mind of that, what you thought you could or couldn't do, and now you can do them, even though it was always there. You just like unlocked it, you know. So I started like leaning into it, being like, oh, okay, I can like sing. I'm gonna sing then. Okay, like didn't know, but so that was different. When I was recording, I would like do a vocal take, and it was like a little like flashy, or I would do something and I was like, wow, kind of like really was like showing a thing there and like trying to really sing. And but then I started liking it and being like, oh, I like this aspect, and now that means I can, what genre can I do? I can do anything now. I don't have to be like an indie rock thing where it's like, you know, like sad, simple, da da da. So it's nice. I like being able to do that, and it doesn't feel like I'm out of like the territory. Like I just feel like there's no rules. I could make a song that's like really crazy and loud and rock, or I could make an acoustic song and it doesn't come off weird, because there's that like solo artist aspect to it that allows people to do anything, which is probably why we have so many solo artists now more than bands. Because bands, you listen to a band and it's like, you want to hear that thing. You want to go hear like the Pixies or something, because it's going to sound like that. Which is great. And my favorite thing in the world is like a band. But I do also like that whole thing of like, I can make a EP or a record, and like song to song, I can do anything I want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like it's all over the place, because it's like, oh, that's just like what he felt like doing. Cool. You know, where with the band thing, it's like, it's weird because you also have to, like, the bass player like plays the bass on every song, and the drummer has to play drums, even if it's not correct, like if it's not appropriate for that song, like you just do it because like that's your job, like you're the drummer, so you have to play the drums on the song, even though like the bass player has a better like feel for it, even though he's not as good at drums. Like where that's now, it's like I'll be like playing the synth part and then I'll play the drums on it, and I'm not as good at drums as the guy I usually bring in to play drums, but sometimes I'll use that because I'm like, that is a better feel, like he's going to do something different that isn't right for it necessarily. So that's cool. That's been cool, you know, thinking about things that way, where it's like just kind of like always make a mess, like just like all different ingredients all the time makes for like a more interesting situation, I think. So that was a new process for me, and I'm like, now I'm fully into that and like happy about it.
I love that.
That's amazing. I'm so happy that you're able to actually creatively like express yourself all the way being a solo artist.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's different, but I'm getting used to it. I like it.
Oh yeah.
Good. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this EP for the first time? Should they play it in the car with friends? Should they go in the dark with some headphones on? Should they blast it at a party? Is it a workout EP? What do you recommend?
That's pretty good. I don't know. It's like I was saying, each song kind of has its own world, where it's like everything's good in the car. I will say that. It doesn't matter. Like, especially like now in the fall, like just drive around. That's going to be, I would recommend always drive around to hear music, because it's, when you drive and listen to music, you know, it's almost like, I wish that, you know, there was a way to put vinyl in cars, because literally like people all got really into vinyl, like including me, but I'll throw a record on and I'm still like sitting here, and there's my computer, and I'm like, my phone is there, and I'm like, and then I get to, and I'm like, I didn't even listen. Like it was playing.
Yeah.
but I'm defeating the whole purpose that was romanticized about vinyl records, which is like, oh, we used to sit around and like listen, you know, like our parents would always say that. And it's like, I don't know, it's weird because like when you're in the car, you can't really text, you can't do anything, you're just going forward, you're focused on this thing. It's weird because you're focused on something, but also like you can drive in your sleep at a certain point, like you're just like, you know, you don't like think about every single moment of that. So you're in this weird state of like, you're just like empty. So the music is great because you're able to let it do its job, you know, where usually it's like you're on Spotify and you click on it and then you're on like YouTube and then you're like texting someone and then someone calls you and it's like, oh yeah, I listened to that new like Kanye record. Yeah, it's like, did you, or did you just play it at some point all the way through on a computer and you were just like doing other shit? Because that's the thing. I feel like anytime I'm like, I'm gonna listen to a record, I put it on Spotify, and the first song I'm like, oh, cool, and then I just, you know, you start doing other stuff because you're literally on a computer or on your phone with all this other stuff on it that like Spotify is like the least active thing you can do on it. You know, like you're gonna immediately get like notifications and mess around. So the car, I think, is the way to do it. But you could work out to it, I guess. I don't know. I can't imagine working out to my voice. That would be the weirdest thing in the entire world. Like I would freak. I have like a bunch of these t-shirts and I'm on them. And like one of them, like a couple of them get like messed up, like when people print them or whatever, like the person who sends me them. And so I'm just like, all right, I can't sell these. So I'll just like use them as like going to bed shirts or like workout shirts. And the other day I was like doing a workout and I like looked up and I was like, oh God, I can't do this anymore. This is way too weird. It's like me like in black and white, like all like serious. I'm like, nah, not going to do that anymore. No. It's way too.
It was a great day to work out until I saw that.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, I was really like, I could do anything. And I was like, oh God, no, I can't.
Going back to bed. Goodbye.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So this question should be super, super quick. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this EP for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Ooh, in 3 words. Are they connected or are they just like?
Just 3 words.
3 words. They can be if you want.
Like a 3-word sentence? Okay. No, I don't know. Damn. But not like genre based, right? I'm not going to do that. I shouldn't do that.
No, you don't have to.
You don't have to.
Nah, genres are done anyway, it seems. Okay. Maybe. Oh God.
Don't think too hard.
I know. See, this is the thing I was telling you about. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Let me think. Let me get one. First thing I would say is it is.
Damn, just one. Just start with one.
This is so hard. All right. It is. Oh, okay. It is. It's bright.
Okay.
I would say, which is different. I usually don't do that, but I would say it is like for the first time. I feel like I'm making music that has this brighter thing to it, and I think that has a lot to do with the singing. And it is. It's big. There's I would say it's pretty big as far as like how it feels. And then I would say it's also very round or rounded out or whatever you want to say, where like I think it does start somewhere and I like and where it ends up. It's a very like round situation. I don't know.
I like that.
Good. Yeah.
Right? Big and round. Yeah, it's great.
Great. So what was your favorite memory that you made while creating this EP?
My favorite memory. I don't know. There's so many moments because I'm in a basement that like the heater comes on or like someone walks in upstairs or like my dog jingles around or whatever. And it's all over the record. Like it's not that apparent, but it's definitely in there. Especially on the Going to California song. That's just me and a piano. I did it upstairs. And it was like, because that's where my piano is. And it was just like, it was raining. And like, I just leaned into it, like opened the windows and like my dog, I forgot to take the collar off him. So it was like jingling whenever he like moved. And I was like, oh God. So I don't know, all that, the recording process was like really fun because it was the first time. It felt like when I was like 6 years old being like learning how to like, oh, I'm just gonna like play with this like recording toy or like, you know, like a stupid instrument thing. Like it felt like that. It felt very like playful because I'm just like home and by myself and like there was no time limit because COVID made everything feel like the world was over.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I literally like sold all my stuff that I usually would use to play live shows, like pedals and like amps and
wow.
stuff like that. Cause I was
That's
just
a
like,
big deal.
yeah, I don't know. I just like, they were just like taking up space. And I was like, I'm never going to play it. Like, there's never going to be a show again. Cause
Ah,
that's the problem with being like a crazy artist person, is like, you just think in terms that don't make any sense, where you're just like, oh, there'll never be, I'm never going to play a show again. And then immediately I had to buy all my stuff again, like
Yeah.
buy it all over again, set it all up the exact
Yep.
same way. I was like, oh my God. But there's this, that's how it works. Everything's so like definite and like, this is it. But yeah, I don't know. Just like going through that weird roller coaster of like, oh, the world's over. So like making music in my basement is like the least I can do. Like, it doesn't matter. There wasn't this, like, I really loved how you didn't look at your phone as an artist anyway and see like other bands and artists on tour and like
Mhm.
other bands and artists being like, oh, here's a new music video. Like everything was done. Everything was down. Everything was just off. It was like driving in the car. It was like, there's something about that when you wake up and you see another artist doing something, or even if it has nothing to do with music, it's like you feel behind because
Yeah.
you're literally waking up to this thing being like, what you guys already like are out doing this. The video could be
Mhm.
from 2 years ago,
Mhm.
but there's just something about seeing something when you wake up that you feel behind, and like
Mhm.
that went away because it just felt like everyone was just stuck and like we're all in this together. So it allowed me to kind of feel very free to be like, well, whatever, this doesn't really matter, so let me just like loosen up and go for it, so, which is great. And I remember when it started ending. I remember when people started playing shows again and like things picked up, and that crept back in, and it was full on like, all right, I got to get back into like competitive mode of like, I need to like try and be aware of what I'm doing and race around for deadlines and like get this video done, and like, and that's great. And now that it's back, I love it, because that was the thing. I thought I was gonna be like, oh, but now that it's back, I'm like, oh, I love playing shows and I love that feeling. But it was like this really cool moment that I don't think we'll ever get again unless this shit happens again. But like, I just feel like it was a cool moment not to take for granted, of like, for creative people anyway, and just seeing what you are capable of as an actual, just like human animal, without like crazy shit going on online. And like, you just, I don't know, we don't often get to feel what that's like, other than when we're like, waking up and like, don't look at our phone for a second. That's like that 1
Mhm.
second you get to be actually like, oh, I'm just a person. And then it's like, oh no, I'm an artist, or I need to do this.
Exactly.
It's like you don't, and then you look at every other animal and it's like, they're like in that little moment forever. They're always just like, I've just got to,
Exactly.
like, a squirrel is just like, I got to find this food. That's all I'm doing today.
Mhm.
I'm being a squirrel though. And it's like, it's great, and like, I guess you could argue that our nature as humans is to do shit. We need to build skyscrapers and we need to do stuff. And I get that. But at the same time, like, when you lose your phone for like a week or it breaks, it's like the best thing ever, because you literally, there's no choice. There's no choice but to be disconnected, but when you have the option to, you're always going to opt to like, oh, let me look, so it's like,
Mhm.
it was nice to be forced to, not be able to do that, I think.
For
I like
sure.
that.
Oh my God.
So for the last couple questions, we can shift away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So
Nice.
if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Oh, beautiful. Homemade tacos, like, not classy, like very, very basic Ortega tacos that I would make, like literally just ridiculous, simple, but just so good with a Coca-Cola with ice.
Okay, it's very
That's
simple.
it.
I like it.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's
Literally,
good.
that's it. Yeah.
All right.
Solid. So I have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has actually said it is the most important question.
Mm.
What is your favorite color?
Ooh. Okay. I want to say, well, it's kind of in this video. It's kind of like, I love the color pink. I love, my favorite thing in the world is like, I think it's called like shell pink, or like,
Ooh.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's very like old, like 50s, like cars and appliances and stuff had that like
Yeah.
dull whitish pinkish, like almost white. It's almost white. That's my favorite color. I think it's just like the most perfect thing. It just feels like, okay, this is nice, but like, I think I used to like red. Red used to be my favorite color because it was like cool. I don't know, but now I'm like really into the shell pink, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
Both
very
great
good
colors,
pink.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So as Gloria said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there
All
anything
right.
that you would like to plug?
I don't know. What do you know? Let me think. Okay, so music video and EP come out tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
the
Woo.
22nd.
It'll be
Yeah.
out by the time that this
Congratulations.
Thanks.
This is
Yeah, I
out.
literally, that's why I was late. I literally was driving to my videographer's house to get the thumb drive with the video on it because I have to upload it to YouTube like today, obviously.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like you probably do that. And there was like a detour, and I was like, and then I got stuck behind a school bus, and then I got stuck
Oh my
behind
god.
a train, and I was like, this
The
is
worst.
great.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, this is gonna be great. So yeah, that was fun. But yeah, that's really it. Just like go listen to this stuff, man. It's coming out tomorrow.
Oh yeah. All
So
right.
true.
Well, thank you for now. This has been Joe P, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.
Thanks, guys.